You know, with climate change and land use change posing growing threats, it's more important than ever to protect our forests. And part of that effort is staying informed about this issue.
Yeah, they say good data empowers good decisions, and now a tech startup is hoping to help in that effort by paving the way for global forest monitoring. Joe Sexton is with TerraPulse. He joins us live to tell us how the startup is using artificial intelligence to help save our forests. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. This is an interesting topic, one that I'm sure a lot of people here in the Pacific Northwest who love our forests would be really interested to learn about. So let's first just talk about, why is this necessary? Why do we need to be protecting our forests?
Because forests they provide benefits. I mean, a strong case can be made that forests have their intrinsic value, but if we're going to be pragmatic about it, the segment that you just did on stormwater protection, forests conserve biodiversity, they support biodiversity, which is the fabric of adaptability and resilience in ecosystems, and they buffer storm flows. So when you get a big rain, if you've got a landscape that is covered in forest, it's going to smooth that pulse of water coming down into the city much better than bare land.
Yeah, talk about the application of artificial intelligence. How is that being used now to help protect our forest lands?
So if you can imagine, it's not hard to do, looking at Google Maps. That satellite image is a bunch of measurements of electromagnetic radiation, red, green, blue. It's like a digital camera orbiting the planet. Your eyes look at that and you interpret trees, roads, grass, water, buildings. We can teach artificial intelligence to make those same associations, but with a much larger array of information. As opposed to red, green, and blue, we can use radar and infrared and thermal, many different wavelengths, which gives a much more detailed picture of what's happening. And so, like the maps that you're showing, we can create maps that are global, that are at the resolution of within a single property parcel, and they go backward in time, something that obviously your eyes cannot do.
Interesting. So let's talk about the application then for some of this data. How would this technology be used, in carbon markets, looking at whether we're offsetting enough?
So it's very similar to accounting. Every human being on Earth, every individual on Earth, is a shareholder in the economy of nature. Let's say that. And what this technology allows people to do is to keep an eye on their assets, their risks, to see how the forest cover is, for example, and this is not even limited to forest cover, but how forest cover is growing over time in a particular city, in a particular county. And the business community is increasingly taking responsibility for reversing the losses of forests to restore carbon.
Let's talk about forest fires, which we're familiar with here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
How will this technology help with reducing the risk that comes from forest fires?
So what we can do, because these images go backward in time, we can retrieve from the past the pattern and the intensity of forest fires. Some of these images go back to 1984 globally, and we can get a picture, just like we can train our eyes to see the pattern of red, green, and blue that tells us forest. We can see the pattern over time of the terrain, of the forest conditions, the density of the forest, and then even combining that with meteorological data to teach the artificial intelligence to find the probability of a fire happening.
Interesting, and definitely helpful in trying to establish some of those early warning systems and more prevention. You mentioned too, forests, can be a great sustainer of biodiversity. I'm sure this would also have a benefit for wildlife too.
Oh, exactly. There are studies where mountain lions, for example, elk, mule deer, bighorn sheep, whitetail, even small birds are fitted with GPS collars, and those GPS units can mine the TerraPulse data to build an expectation of where that animal, what the habitat preferences of that animal are, and then those information are also combined with the state agency, the game agencies, to look at the reproductive rates and the mortality rates and where the hunter activity is, and just sort of optimize the management of this extremely complex system.
All right, Joe Sexton, very interesting stuff when you talk about combining technology and nature here. We appreciate you sharing how your technology works. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
And if you want to check out their global monitoring, how TerraPulse works for yourself, you can go to their website. It's terrapulse.com.